There is a new plan in the works to keep the Lincoln Memorial Reflecting Pool clean. This, of course, after the severe algae, the peeling problems, the allegations of vandalism. CNN has learned that the Department of the Interior is now looking to hire a contractor to provide long-term maintenance and an annual purge. CNN's Selin Serfati has this story. I feel like you are officially our Reflecting Pool correspondent at this point, Selin. So they're also, as I understand it this time around, taking bids?
That's right. This is a very extensive plan, Erica, that will happen after the next round of renovations happen after the July 4th holiday. And the Department of Interior is reaching out to contractors that want to take part in this work to potentially win this bid. And essentially what it is for the daily maintenance of the pool going forward. So after this renovation, and really the documents outline how extensive and how hard it will be on a daily basis to maintain this pool. If you check out the documents, it says part of their responsibility will be on a daily basis, removing debris, animal dropping, leaves in and around the pool, and reporting any dead animals in the vicinity. The contractor is also supposed to clean filters and skimmers and remove, quote, all debris, pollen, and sludge daily from the pool. Now, the contractor would also manually disinfect the pool as it is needed, and this also calls for the pool to be drained annually, likely between February and March of every year, for a 2-week period where they would be cleaning it and have more time for an inspection then. Also notable is that in this request for bids, it says several issues could arise when that draining of the pool happens once a year. It says the material at the bottom of the pool, and this is a quote, is slick and nasty and is a combination of wet leaves, duck, and bird droppings. All of this, of course, Erica, underscores just how hard it is to maintain this pool on a daily basis. And after they reach this next round of renovations, if they get it to where they want it to be, of course, after several problems, as you noted, that it still will take a daily, weekly, monthly, and yearly upkeep from whoever wins this contract from the Department of Interior.
Yeah, no small feat to keep it clean and clear, that is for sure. So before the maintenance can begin, right? So this whole maintenance plan, too, comes later, as you noted. So at this point, the pool has to be drained. It has to be repaired. Where does that project stand?
We don't know much yet, and we have certainly asked these questions of the Department of Interior to no response yet. All we know is that after the 4th of July holiday, it will be drained. We don't know what day that will happen, but when it does, then we expect to see the restoration of many of the problems that have come up over the last many weeks since they originally filled the pool after the last round of renovation. So we know that there's problems with the sealant on the bottom. We know there's problems with the paint on the bottom. We know the liners had gotten damaged. There's still big questions whether the Department of Interior will replace the pipes that they've long said that they needed to replace. So a lot of work needs to be done, and it's not clear at this time the choreography of any of this, and certainly the timeline. Remember, the first timeline that the Trump administration had been driving to was July 4th holiday. They wanted it done. So there was a quickness with everything that they did. So a big question is, how long will they give themselves for this next round of work?
It's not like we think people are laying in bed at night being like, the reflecting pool, what went wrong? It's more like, what is the symbolism of this thing? And Jesse, I want to turn to you, because you were pointing out something that I saw and noticed as well, which is that back in 2010, using money for the economic stimulus program, the Obama administration did a renovation, structural renovation of the reflecting pool, and people completely flipped out. It didn't go well. It took 2 years. What's different about this one?
Well, yeah, 2-year renovation, I think $34 million spent. And it didn't go so well. I think you can find a CNN segment from like 2012 talking about how there's algae still in the pool. So this is a difficult problem to solve. We've all spent, I think, a lot of time talking about it. But I do think to some extent, this is a little bit of like, maybe cable news directing the conversation toward where we want a lot of the outrage to go and be. I don't see like the animating force in even Democratic politics right now being about the reflecting pool. My mom watches a lot of cable news.
Yeah.
She doesn't like Trump. I'm sure she's very concerned about
the algae this weekend. Well, then let me ask this question before you try and make the segment not exist, because we're at the start of the show. One thing that's different is the economic stimulus program was paid for by the taxpayers, right? It didn't go through a no-bid process for contracts. The blue sealant that is peeling off is only put there because Trump thought it would look better ahead of America 250. So again, self-imposed deadline, self-imposed issue. Is it a self-own?
Well, and I think part of it, I think you're right, that I don't think Americans are sitting around thinking about the reflecting pool in Washington,
I remember when his
D.C.
motorcade was driving up the center of the reflecting
and I think
pool,
it actually,
and I was like, why?
And I think it probably is now, you probably have tourists now visiting the reflecting pool more than they probably have because of the news coverage
Not
around
closely, Joe, and don't touch it.
Exactly.
Jeanine Pirro is on it.
Apparently.
That's them. Can we show that again? That's
maybe prosecuted.
Getting ready, raising awareness for an issue, as you said, that nobody asked for or cared about, which is, can the reflecting pool look bluer? And the motorcade went on there.
We keep saying Americans aren't thinking about this, aren't caring about it, but the issue seems to be that the president is thinking about it and caring about it a lot, and he spent quite a lot of time on it at a time in this period where we've been at war, where we continue to have whatever is going on in Iran at this point, even with the agreements to supposedly stop fighting. We've got inflation still high, jobs numbers yesterday that weren't great, and this is becoming not just an ongoing problem for the president, but something that he clearly is going to continue spending time on, and also is going to continue spending taxpayer money on. And that is confusing to a lot of people, I think, when they see that this is look. It's a reflection. I'm not a pool specialist.
The only reason I'm asking, once it gets into the legal system, we're now turning something that it didn't need to be here where it is. I want to ask about another thing, which is the divisions over America 250 during Freedom 250. I think are kind of telling. This could have been a bipartisan project. And the Trump administration, when they came in, they said, look, we don't think this group is doing a good job. We think they're wasting money. We don't think they're doing things on time. We're going to be taking some of that money. But in the process, they've also been selling these like sponsorship packages, right? And some of those packages are FaceTime, like a photo with the president.
And what's going to happen on Saturday night, on July 4th, is that on the National Mall, the president is going to give a rally speech, basically, right? And because of that rally speech, not only is it going to be hot, but it's going to push the fireworks to later at night. So this thing that, fireworks are what Americans unite around on July 4th. And instead, families are making the decision, again, because of the heat, but because it doesn't seem like the fireworks will start until after 11 p.m. to not go to the fireworks, and then dealing with the fact that the kids are going to get woken up by the fireworks.
Here's what Trump has to say. Him and also D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser, they're talking about the heat here and their concerns for the celebrations.
On July 4th, it's going to be approximately 107 degrees out. And I'm going to go and I'm going to make a really long speech just to show that I can do anything.
The thing to remember, especially with this heat, is that's a long, long day. So people have to really watch the heat, watch what they're drinking, and get home as soon as the fireworks are over.
In the end, maybe this is mood because it's just too hot out. No, honestly, it's like dangerous. You're
Even
not
coming in this morning, I
no
was struck
backpacks,
by how hot it is already.
Only a certain kind of water
No
bottle.
coolers,
There's going to be no folding chairs, no this, no that. I understand the security concerns, but I think the reality is if you're a person with any frailties whatsoever, or lungs, you look at these triple digits and you don't think, let me go sit out there for what he himself has described, a very long speech.
Yeah, and it's obviously not Trump's fault. It's going to be hot outside.
That's why I'm showing the map, my man.
Well, no, this is the thing. I think, on the one hand, it's a little bit of a challenge because it's like, the president shouldn't spend public tax dollars doing things to make the reflecting pool blue or get rid of the algae or improving parks or redeveloping fountains in
aesthetic
DC.
versus structural.
But on the other hand, it's also like Trump shouldn't seek out private sponsorships for some of these events in America 250. So I do feel like there's a little bit of a push and pull there.
Wait, you mean you're saying critics are saying those things? I can't tell if you're saying those things or critics saying
I am
those
not
things.
saying those things. Critics are pointing those things out. I don't really take issue with either using some amount of public funds to do things like improve fountains in DC, get them working again that haven't been after a long time, or to seek out private sponsorships for some of these America 250 events. The downside, though, and Republicans should understand this, is that, and this leads into the Freedom 250 250 versus America 250 tension, it's hard to get Hollywood celebrities and stars to come do performances when a Republican is leading the show in Washington, D.C. I would have probably just said from the get-go, it's going to be really difficult to do that. Let's bring in the military bands, let's bring in the flyovers, and let's do this.
And we should say we're reporting actually from a Democrat claim in the House that the organizers may have redirected funds or duped donors. That's the accusation from Democrats right now into putting money into the Freedom 250 Conquers. You were going to say something.
Well, I mean, actually, it wouldn't be hard to have celebrities or, I don't know, Democratic governors or senators and have it be a bipartisan event if the president from the beginning tried to make it a bipartisan event. You saw what he said. He's making this an endurance speech. It's like to show that he is some strong man. But that's how he is, right? And it started with the UFC fight. It was his 80th birthday. It wasn't a celebration at 250. It was the president's 80th birthday party. This is what it seems like now. There is a speech that the president will, as Isaac said, it will become a MAGA rally campaign speech versus a unifying speech bringing everybody together.
Well, we don't know what it'll be yet. What we do know what it will be.
I have yet to see the president make one
unifying speech. And we should point out
speech.
that the Democratic governors were invited. Even the Hollywood superstars
but they
were
pulled
invited.
out because a lot of business leaders.
Can I interrupt? There's something to what she's saying about the fact that Trump stays on message, and his message is rarely a unifying
But the
one.
president wasn't going to speak.
And now, I know, but now he's decided to speak extra long. I didn't
Because
need that.
people
No,
pulled
send
out.
Lee Greenwood out there. That's fine. Okay.